Hello, Buff and Blue Nation. I'm Savannah Gajda, and welcome to another episode of GWTV Unstoppable. We've got a ton of GW sports news for you as we wrap up 2021.
That's right. I'm Celeste Noraian. We recently wrapped up the fall sports season, and now it's time to get hyped for the winter months, and most importantly, GW basketball. Today we have Richie Wright giving us an in-depth rundown of women's basketball. Stay tuned.
The Nets are down as the women's volleyball team concludes their season with a 2-25 record overall and a 2-14 record in A10 play. But hey, those 2 wins are better than none, right? The team ended their season on a low note, not winning a single set in their last 8 consecutive matches. The team has 6 graduating seniors, including scoreboard leaders Lauren Lebec and Bella Bowman. So the spotlight will focus on the younger players, specifically the elite freshman Salem Johannes, who led the team with 210 kills this season. Head coach Sarah Burnson will not return to the team next year. GW Director of Athletics Tanya Vogel described Burnson as a, quote, key contributor to both student athletes and staff as she led the team through difficult times such as the pandemic and the passing of assistant coach Brianna Berry last summer.
Men's water polo took their play to the Mid-Atlantic Water Polo Conference Championship. They had strong wins against Johns Hopkins and Wagner, but fell to number 20 ranked Navy. The Buff and Blue secured their 3rd place spot in the season finale with a 2-point win against Wagner. Andrea Sekulik led the game with a season high of 4 goals. With a huge performance all around the pool, Henry Moss really came to play. He had 2 goals and 3 assists, along with a steal, an ejection drawn, and a field block. The game was tied with only 5 minutes left to go, and then Bender Russo and Andras Levi both scored goals to finish out the game with a win. Viktor Hovanovic became the program's all-time single-season leader for number of ejections drawn, with a total of 79 ejections in 26 games. 349 total saves were made by sophomore Luca Castorina. He now ranks 2nd in the program history for his total saves. 3rd place might not have been the outcome GW was hoping for, but there's definitely more success to come for the Buff and Blue.
Women's cross country sprinted through the finish line to look back proudly on a program best 6th place finish at the NCAA Mid-Atlantic Regionals. The Colonials mark a top 10 finish in the race for the 2nd consecutive year. Certain runners stood out among the rest. Graduate student from Princeton, Perry Pavicic, led GW with a time of 21 minutes and 15.6 seconds, earning her a 26th place finish. 3 runners finished in the top 50 and 5 racers finished in the top 60. To make things even more impressive, first-year Olivia Seifstad set a new personal record of 21 minutes and 49.2 seconds in the 6K event. The Colonials prevailed and came out on top throughout this entire historic season. It'll be very exciting to see this team continue sprinting to victory as the indoor track season rolls around.
Running on to men's cross country, the men had a 13th place finish at NCAA Mid-Atlantic Regionals. This is the highest mark since the team took 14th place in 2017. Logan Brodner, Kevin Conlon, Alex Longway, and Ryan Folks all made their 10K event debut. A new personal record was set by James Glockenmeyer with a time of 31 minutes and 31.5 seconds. This was over a minute improvement from his last 10K in the 2019 regional. A lot of improvements were made in the cross-country season, and now it's time to gear up for the track season. At the A10 championship last spring, Miles Grant broke the school record for high jump, and Ryan Folks finished 4th in the 1,500-meter run. A lot of men broke PRs. I'm excited to see what's to come for the Buff and Blue track season.
In their most recent meet, Pittsburgh outpaced GW, but the Colonials still managed to post a few season best times. Karol Lenacek won the 100-meter backstroke with a season best time of 48.95 seconds, edging the runner-up by only 3 milliseconds. Spencer Bystrom posted a career-best 1-meter diving score of 284.40 points. And finally, GW's 200-yard freestyle relay team, consisting of Karol Lenacek, Tyler Kawakami, Georgi Matic, and Dylan Koo, also posted a season best time of 1 minute and 22.67 seconds despite the second place finish. The men's swimming and diving team is now headed to my home state, New Jersey, for Princeton's Big Al Invitational. Head coach Brian Thomas says he aims for the team to have fun at this midseason meet, and he hopes to have his swimmers in as many races as possible. Thomas says he has no expectations, but solid performances are the usual outcome this team sees every time they enter the pool. This meet will be a great opportunity for Thomas to get an idea of where his swimmers excel, and more importantly, where they can improve to lock in another A10 championship.
Diving into the next few meets for women's swimming and diving, Jamie Doak set a program record at Pitt for the 1-meter dive with a score of 279.23. The previous record was held by Lynn McCormick since 2001. Doak also landed a 5-dive platform record score. Rookie Mariah Freitas brought home 2 wins against Pitt and swam season best times in the 100 fly with a time of 56.55 seconds and in the 200 fly with 2 minutes and 2.82 seconds. These times landed her in the program's all-time top 10 in both events. Freitas now ranks 5th in the 200 fly and 10th in the 100 fly. Another rookie, Julia Knox, won the 400 IM with a time of 4 minutes and 25.75 seconds. This moved her up to number 6 in the program's all-time top 10 in that event. First year, Molly Smyers also won the 1,000 free in 10 minutes and 16.64 seconds. Although the women came up short against Pitt, they still have a couple meets left, and they have waited nearly a month for Princeton's Big Al Invitational over the weekend on December 3rd through 5th. Making big moves for the team this year, the first years have really made an impact in the pool.
It's my favorite time of the year with the holidays coming up and basketball fully underway. GW men's basketball began the season with the entire Smith Center on its toes in a tight 75-72 victory against St. Francis. Since then, the Colonials have traveled to Maryland, California, and Florida to play 8 games, and they've only managed to win 1. This 2-7 record does not seem fitting for a team as talented as this one. The Colonials have a very strong starting lineup, which includes star junior guard James Bishop. Bishop is on a 6-game hot streak as the team's leading scorer, even scoring a season-high 23 points in GW's 2-point loss to Boston University. Scoring-wise, the team distributes the wealth very efficiently among sharpshooters like Bishop, Joe Bamaziel, Brayon Freeman, Brendan Adams, and Ricky Lindo Jr. However, the team needs to up their offensive rebounding. There have been games where the team did not see more than 3 and 6 offensive rebounds respectively. Not to worry though, it's still early in the season and the Colonials have a solid 4 more weeks of opportunity to get better before entering A10 competition.
Women's basketball took a trip to San Juan, Puerto Rico over Thanksgiving break, playing 2 games. They ended the weekend with a win against UT Martin and a loss against Florida. The Buff and Blues started off December with a rewarding home win with a score of 54-50 against James Madison. It was Araya Gringas' free throws that closed the seconds of the game and brought the victory for GW. Over the summer, Nia Locke competed on the South Sudanese women's national team. Locke had her first Smith Center appearance and did not waste any time during the game, adding 15 points to the scoreboard. GW showed a powerful defense, leading JMU to 17 turnovers, while GW had 11. Looking at the next couple of weeks, GW has some fun games ahead, facing off against Virginia and our local DC schools, Georgetown and Howard. These will be some exciting games with a little DC rivalry. Let's go, G-Dub! Now we've got Richie Wright joining us to talk about women's basketball.
Hi, so after a 9-14 record last season, I think that the GW's women's basketball team looks eager to improve, especially under the new coach they have with Caroline McCombs. A little over a month into the season already, and the squad's already shown tremendous talent, especially on the defensive side of the ball, as you were alluding to just then. And they've won 4 of the last 5 games, and I think there's a lot of confidence as they're entering this next stretch of games in the month of December.
Yeah, we've seen that defense has played such a critical role in this team's season so far. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how it's helped them come out victorious in some of these games?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think for the defense, that's the key to success for this team so far. they've shut down the most dangerous players on teams they've played. I know for UT Martins, their lead scorers on that team, they held them to a combined 12 points, which is astronomical and hugely successful to finally win that game. And even for Quinnipiac's top player, they held them to a really low number of baskets as well. And when it wasn't clicking the defense, they lost, like to Florida. They gave up 61 points, which is the second most they've given up all season. And it's no surprise that the other game that they gave up more points in was also a defeat for this team. So again, I think this the victory for this women's team runs through the defense so far.
Yeah, definitely. And seeing this coaching change, we've also seen such a change in the team's culture. And there's also like pretty much a brand new roster. Who have been some of your favorite players to watch so far?
I think Aurea Gringas, as you pointed out, she's a sophomore, but she's been one of the top performers this season, I'd say. She had 16 points against Quinnipiac and 55% from the field during that game, which was a career high for her. Also, Kiara Frames, who's a grad student, I think she's been tremendous so far. She had 11 points against Old Dominion going back a few games, 10 points against UT Martin, and then again for JMU's game they just had, she had 8 points in that as well. And then another person, for speaking of defense, Ty Moore, another grad student, she's averaging 9.4 rebounds per game and 6 steals per game. So that's just tremendous work by her as well, I think.
Yeah, I also want to highlight Nia Locke. Celeste, I know you were talking about that 15-point performance. That was crazy.
Yeah, that is insane. And I also want to point out some big shooters from last season. Mayoa Taiwo averaged 6.1 points per game and was a key member last year for GW's starting 5. And there are several transfers for the Buff and Blue. They averaged double digits last season, like Shazlani Loriano, 15.8 points from Florida Southern State. Nia Locke with 14.2 points per game at Mid-Atlantic College, which is actually a JUCO. So she played at JUCO and now she's at the D1 level, which I think shows a lot about her work ethic. And another name is Sierra Bell, who averaged 10.1 points per game at Purdue Fort Wayne, and she came back for a grad year at GW.
Very impressive to go from JUCO to G1. That's a huge achievement. So with pretty much a huge schedule left, how do you think that they're going to fare in the remaining time of the season?
I think they just got to stick to what they've been doing, which is controlling the ball on both sides, especially on the defensive side, making sure they get those rebounds, get those steals. I think the new coach, Caroline McCombs, is doing a great job. She emphasized over the summer training that defense was one of her top priorities, and I think it's really showing. She led Stony Brook to their NCAA tournament appearance in this last season before she came to GW this past year. And I think that's also energizing the players on this current squad and giving them a lot more confidence. And again, 4 of the last 5 they've won. I think that's going to help them a lot as they're facing hometown rivals in Georgetown, Howard, and even the games beyond that.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see the energy that they're going to bring on the court later on. All right. Thank you, Richie Wright, for joining us. Now on to men's golf. Men's golf hit a hole-in-one with its recent signings of 2 elite golfers. Head coach Chuck Shinos announced the addition of Manuel Barbachano and Jed D to its 2022-2023 lineup. Barbachano is a superstar on the golf course, ranking 98th overall in his class. He is also the 6th-ranked international player for the class of 2022 on the junior golf scoreboard. Barbachano has an impressive golf resume that includes finishing in the top 8 in stroke play at the PGA Tour Worldwide Technology event at Mayakoba last November. As for Jed D, he is no stranger to winning. The incoming freshman has won over 100 tournaments since he was 5 years old, including 3 junior world championships. D boasts golf experience with the Philippine national team, and he appeared in the golf documentary The Short Game. The high level of skill and talent coming from Barbachano and D can certainly change GW Golf's fate in a positive way next year.
GW Gymnastics opens its 2022 season hosting William & Mary, Penn, and Cornell for the 14th annual Lindsay Ferris Invitational on January 16th at 1 p.m. Seniors Deja Chambliss and Olivia Zona are the team captains for the season. The two are strong athletes on the mat, consistently competing in 3 events. Also, for the 3rd consecutive year, they were selected for the conference scholastic team. Last season, Chambliss set out to Salt Lake City for NCAA regionals as an individual on vault. Sophomore Kendall Whitman is a name to remember. She had a lot of success in her rookie season. Whitman took home the Outstanding Rookie Award and was the top performer on the floor with a 9.831 average. She even has her own move called the Whitman. More than gymnastics, GW was ranked 14th in the country for academic excellence among 75 schools by the Women's Collegiate Gymnastics Association. There are 12 meets for the regular season schedule, with 3 meets at home. Gymnastics brings a hype crowd, so come out and support the buff and blue.
The GW lacrosse team has been hard at work during their off-season, not just with practicing their cradling and dodging skills. The team was awarded Colonial of the Week honors in recognition of their efforts with the 10th annual Colonial Harvest. The Colonials raised over $6,000 in donations and collected more than 1,000 items for Thanksgiving baskets, which were delivered to St. Rita's Church to help local families in need during the holiday. Actions like these truly reflect the buff and blue spirit, especially during the holidays, and we look forward to supporting our women's lacrosse team in the spring.
Women's tennis wrapped up the fall season on November 5th at the Seahawk Ocean Classic, hosted by UNCW. Sarah Bauduz and Alejandra Ramirez had a doubles win against JMU. And reigning A10 Rookie Performer of the Year, Stella Wiseman, landed a win in singles against Appalachian State. For the 2022 season, sophomore returners are ready to put their time in at the net. Last season, sophomore Lindsay Thompson was on the all-conference second team. After finishing the spring season with a #1 ranked 9-4 singles record, Wiseman was selected to the all-conference first team. There is some talent we are waiting to see, but I think it will be a good season for GW.
Women's rowing completed its fall campaign after 4 regattas this semester. They started off strong in home territory, none other than the Potomac River. 2 GW boats placed first and second respectively in the head of the Potomac in September. All 4 of GW's boats saw top 10 finishes in the second regatta, the Occoquan Chase. The novice rowers also dipped their feet in the water, seeing some racing action in the head of the Occoquan in November, while the varsity program faced fierce competition at the Princeton Chase. The novice program earned 5th and 13th place finishes in the varsity 8 and 6th place in the varsity 4. Majority of the rowers in the novice program joined the Division I team with no prior rowing experience, but enough grit and heart to join the program. They spent this fall learning how to erg and take strokes thanks to assistant coach Ashley Miles, whose main focus was coaching the novices. The rookies have fully integrated themselves into this competitive A10 team, which is a huge accomplishment for these rowers. We look forward to seeing the women's rowing team compete on the water next spring, including our very own Celeste Noraian. All right, GW sports fans, it's time for my favorite segment, Unstoppable's Top 3 Plays. In third place, we have Nia Locke's 15-point performance in GW's victory against James Madison. This was Locke's second Smith Center appearance, and she got right to establishing her ground here in Foggy Bottom.
Ranking second is Henry Moss's insane performance against Wagner in the conference championship. He had 2 goals, 3 assists, a steal, an ejection drawn, and a field block.
Cue the drum roll, please. Our top play for the #1 seat is GW Athletics registering a 94 graduation success rate. The Colonials really know how to put the student in student athletes. They have been hard at work in the game and in the classroom. A 94 GSR is 4% higher than the NCAA average of 90, and 7 GW teams achieved a perfect 100 score. Keep up the good work, Colonials.
Hello, Unstoppable fans. It's time for Hot Takes, and I'm your host, Arjun Kaul. I will be asking a series of questions to our 2 anchors that will hopefully lead to a heated debate for your entertainment. First up, as we enter Week 13 of the NFL season, the Ravens are leading the AFC at 8-3, and the Cardinals are leading the NFC at 9-2. However, there are many rising teams like the Patriots, the Packers, the Chiefs, and the Buccaneers. So, at this point, what is your guys' Super Bowl prediction and why? Celeste, we'll start with you.
So I'm thinking that we're going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes is a really strong player. But I'm really unsure between the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. because Tampa Bay, he's got Tom Brady. People think he's already peaked, but I think he's still got some more seasons in him. Last season, he completed 64.1% of his passes, 25 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions. And once he gets down with the wide receivers, he's gonna just be unstoppable and even more dangerous. And with the Packers, always Aaron Rodgers. And 2020 was proof that this man remains one of the most reliable and has the most ridiculous arm in the NFL. At 37, he is confident in his own abilities, and he just really focuses on his physical, mental health. And so I would say probably the Tampa Bay Bucks would go over the Green Bay Packers.
Okay, and Savannah?
Very solid. All right, guys, hear me out on this. In a perfect world where we could have 2 NFC teams in the Super Bowl, okay? Giants, Bucks. Just close your eyes and imagine it, okay? We're tied 21-all, 4 seconds left in the game. Giants ball at the 2-yard line. All right, we're in LA for the Super Bowl, right? Because it's in LA in February. We can't rush. Everyone knows it's going to Saquon. Danny Dimes needs a backup plan, right? He doesn't know what to do. It starts raining. He gets frantic. He looks over to the sideline. Eli shows up, calls him over, whispers something. Danny Dimes runs back to the huddle. Ready? Break, right? Throws, living up to his name, Danny Dimes, throws a dime to the end zone. Sterling Shepard for the touchdown. Tom Brady loses, falls to his knees, retires, admits that Eli Manning is the better quarterback, and all is well.
I don't think we've ever gotten an instant loss in Hot Takes history, but that will definitely not suffice.
No, that is my Super Bowl fantasy.
Okay.
As a Giants fan, we are Super Bowl deprived. It's been almost 10 years, and we're not doing so hot at all. We haven't been for a long time. If I have to be serious about it, I would say Patriots, Packers. Packs are an NFC favorite. Aaron Rodgers is the man. And, Mac Jones, Roll Tide, baby, he is elite. He is the 4th quarterback in history to go on a 4-0 run in the month of November. He's already building a super impressive resume, and he even filed for the MJ10 trademark. So he knows he's good, and he knows he's going places. So I wouldn't be surprised if he brings it all the way. But I'm still secretly rooting for the Giants and the Bucks.
Okay. Well, I know the Patriots are a very hot team right now, and Mac Jones really fell into the greatest circumstances as you can as a rookie quarterback. But they don't have that dynamic of an offense, although their defense is insane. I would say the Packers are a great team coming out of the NFC, but my bias has to go towards Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. So I feel like I have to give this to Celeste because I would love a repeat of last year's Super Bowl. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers crushed the Chiefs, and nothing would make me happier than to see it again. So point 1 has to go to Celeste for her amazing prediction.
Well, what about my Super Bowl fantasy?
That fantasy is not happening. So now, along with the new 17-game season, this season stands out as the MVP race is up in the air for everyone. Derrick Henry's injury took him out of the contention, and most of the quarterbacks haven't fully stepped up with their ups and downs throughout the season. So going into the final weeks, who do you guys think deserves the league MVP? Savannah, I'll start with you.
Well, I want to start off by saying it's really a shame what happened to Derrick Henry. I really had him in the run for this. Hopefully he gets back in shape for next season, maybe. Right now, I would say it's a little too early to tell. We've still got 6 weeks left in the regular season. Then, of course, playoffs. Anything can happen. Injuries. Everything's up in the air. However, if I were to choose one right now, I would say it would be between Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady. Stats-wise, Brady's killing it. He's through the roof. He's leading the league with 30 touchdown passes. He hit the 3,000 mark for yards thrown. He's got 3,403. Rodgers has not hit that yet, but he's close. He's at 2,878. He's got 23 touchdowns under his belt, and he's also the reigning NFL MVP, and I think that gives him a huge advantage. So ultimately, between the two, I think they're both really strong competitors, and I think it's going to end up with which team has the better postseason.
Honestly, I'd probably say Tom Brady is going to get the MVP award this year because honestly, it's about what teams are going to be at the top this season. And There's really good wide receivers on the Bucks. We've got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonian Brown. And Brady just has to land it in their hands, and it's gold. And, you know, I think that his passing percentage has been really good, like you mentioned. So I'll have to go with Tom Brady.
Celeste might have to get this point. I don't see the kind of back and forth between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is having a great season, but his numbers aren't leading up to his MVP performance as much. Tom Brady, though, is pretty killing it. His interceptions are a lot more up right now, but as Rob Gronkowski gets healthy again, they get more into December. That's when Brady really turns it up before postseason time. So I think the award might go to him. So transitioning into our holiday portion of the episode, winter break is about to start. We're all going to be home, relaxing. And so with a cup of hot chocolate, what is your go-to favorite Christmas movie? So let's start with you.
I'd always have to go with The Grinch. I don't think I need too much of an explanation, you know, like big green guy, what's not to like about that. I really like the music, the characters, but honestly, I'd like to hear your choice, Savannah.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say I'm down 2, so can we make this one 2 points and do a tiebreaker?
We can try.
All right. My favorite movie is Elf. I love Will Ferrell. He is hilarious. There's not a single movie that hasn't made me literally laugh until I cry. It also contains 2 of my favorite things, New York City and Christmas, which, you know, you can't beat. And the whole vibe of the movie is just so feel-good and wholesome. Like, he's adorable. Buddy the Elf is adorable. The excitement in the movie is so contagious, and I've watched it so many times that I've memorized the song Buddy sings when he goes to see his dad in New York.
Oh, let's hear it, Savannah.
I'll save that for another time.
Let's hear it.
We're not close enough to Christmas yet. It's not. We're still close to
December, you know.
Yeah. Well, next time.
Okay.
Savannah, I think you had a great explanation for Elf. Like, it truly makes sense. I've just never liked Elf. I don't know why. I'm like,
odds are against me today.
It really is. Like, I feel like there's some animosity here, but I've always had a contention for Home Alone 2, because again, New York City is where I'm from, and such a good movie. Also, Christmas with the Cranks. It's a sleeper. Exactly. It's my sister's favorite movie. It's my sister's favorite movie, so we always watch it. It's a hilarious story. And so the 2 points that you wish would have went to you are going to go towards Celeste and the Grinch, because I have bad pictures of my mom where she looks like the Grinch, and I always make fun of her for it. So it's a very homey answer that you would say the Grinch. So she beat you 4-0 today. And with that, hot takes, Celeste has won our hot take segment for the fall semester with a score of 2-1 against Savannah.
I'll bounce back
Thank you,
from this.
Arjun.
New year, new me.
You can stay strong. It'll be okay.
Oh yeah. Failure fuels success, guys. Hot takes next year. I'm coming different.
Maybe the Giants can maybe get some success from their failures.
I think I'll just change my Christmas movie. Honestly, I'm better off doing that.